That work was done by teachers, secretaries, instructional assistants, and I think even the custodian got in on it. I'm not quite sure. Okay, but I wanted to ask the teachers to share a few thoughts why they thought that we should start allocating the system, and then I'm just going to read what they said. This comes from Ms. Fern, who teaches science. She says, Penny is incredibly kind to a wide variety of students. Academically, she is very hardworking and pushes to always get the highest grades that she can. From Mrs. Larson for Language Arts, Penny is the person that 8th grade teachers dream about teaching.
Wow.
Wow.
That's pretty hard to
hardworking
find.
And lifts up students around her. She says, I've been incredibly lucky to teach Penny. She will be an asset in high school or any school for that matter. We're thinking law school. I don't know what you're talking about law school already. And then Mr. Humphrey says that Penny is an amazing student. He teaches math. She is quick to help her fellow classmates when they are struggling. She is present and aware of those around her. She handles herself with grace, as she is a positive ally to her fellow students. She is a role model with her work ethic and attitude towards schoolwork, peers, and teachers. She is truly an outstanding citizen. So, our outstanding citizen. Nice for your careful spouse.
We're going to do this, I think, first here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then Penny gets to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would, please. Whenever you're ready. Go ahead. Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. And I'm guessing you're probably not going to want to stay for the whole meeting. Just Jen, anytime you'd like. So, thank you for coming. Congratulations. All right, we do not have any public comment for tonight. And so we are going to actually bump up 7B up to right now, and we'll have our technical ed program update. Mr. Goldacre.
Sure for you.
Thank you.
Everyone's managed to do a few here. Result. High school years ago, we expanded our program to the high school to not only welding and carpentry, but into our motion graphics and film editing classes. And so we have 2 full programs of study that we have kids in. And I have some numbers for you. Then we have some kids. I'm going to introduce one of our instructors as well. So if you were to look at this brochure, a breakdown of the program, open it up into the middle of this pamphlet, the middle panel. And those are all our College Now offerings at the high school level and AP offerings. Now the difference between AP offerings and College Now, the AP, if you take an AP course in high school, you have to pass the AP exam at the end of the year to get college credits. College Now classes, all you have to do is get through the curriculum at the high school level to earn college level classes. So if you were to look down at our foreign language, our math, but halfway down you have manufacturing and technology, which is our welding classes. So if they are just participants, they're not going to get College Now credit. If they are concentrators, they have the opportunity at College Now credit. but we're looking for the completers. That means going through the whole program, welding, intro to welding, welding 2, welding 3, welding 4, independent study, work-based learning as well is a big push by the state now. And so they can earn up to 3 full credits throughout their high school career. And so our big push with the ODE audit we had with civil rights last year was a big push to get down to our middle school and try to work with those 8th graders and 7th graders a little bit about what do we offer at the high school and start them thinking about it earlier. And I have some numbers. Last year we had 5 females in our intro to welding class and 1 that was in our welding 3 class that was still in it as a concentrator. This year, out of our 64 welding kids, we had 24 females in intro to welding this year versus 17 males in our intro to welding class this year. Okay, so the turnaround is kind of it's exciting to see because that was one of our goals. Our focus was to get more females involved in industrial thing, high pay, high wage jobs like that. And so, and we have a couple here that stumbled into our class possibly, or had a different route in college. One's a junior, one's a senior, and they want to introduce the students for us. Or...
Well, I know their first names.
Well, it's important about
to introduce Summer
McKean.
Okay, seriously, I'm a face and first name person. I may be getting old, but this is the first term that I had all my students' first names memorized within the first 2 weeks. Okay. Normally, I don't even get them memorized through a term. It's getting better. I'll have to stay around a while. Okay. And Mackenzie Corbin.
Yeah. And so here are 2 of our females that I think both of them have different routes, how they got into the program welding wise. Summer's a junior still, but Mackenzie's going to go on beyond school. And Mackenzie, we talked first about your trek through and why you took a welding class and what you're going to get out of it.
About after 2 months after intro welding, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was going to be medical, blah, blah, blah. About after 2 months of my intro welding semester, I decided, no, I want to be a welder. So let's do that now. So now I'm going to go to Lane Community Colleges. Lane Community College, I'm registered. They're going to do that in the fall and on to welding career from it.
So there's one of our top GPA students, never probably thought about going into a welding career. I'm assuming, is that correct? Yeah. And took a class just recently and fell in love with it. And now she's going to go to college and be a welder. So that's awesome to hear. So I kind of support her through her post-secondary stuff as well. And Summer is closer because she was more of an automotive area mechanic, maybe, possibly. But why don't you tell your story real quick?
Yeah, I just wanted to go on top of it just to get more hands-on with it. But then once I joined the welding class, it added more to my arsenal, and it just grew of what I wanted to do, so I could do both at the same time.
And that's we've really talked about females in the welding career. There's lots of opportunities out there, and it's awesome to see. I walk into Mr. Johnson's 3rd grade class, and there's 14 females and 4 males in a welding class, which is awesome to see. And I'm hoping our trend that we had 20 9th graders take intro to welding, that will get us started into the concentrator piece. That way the state can track them a little bit better, and then hopefully some completers, and we'll get some college down credit out of it. But no, that's just one. We have carpentry as well at the high school, and automotive, which is not a program of study, but it kind of ties into that area. And Mr. Cook, you want to get up and talk about your experience? You're more automotive than anything, right?
Well, once me and my brother started working on our trucks, when we first started his, I just love working on trucks and just it's something I'd like to do in the future. And when we started on mine, I took auto with Mr. Johnson, trying to learn about it more. And that helped, but I think I learned a little bit more at home, hands-on stuff, what turning all the trucks and everything, and motors. But freshman year, when COVID was big, when we only went 2 days a week, I took intro to welding, and I didn't see any interest in it then. But last semester when I took welding 2, I didn't have any interest in it, but I still love welding. It was something I liked to do. And then this semester I started thinking about doing it when I'm out of high school. It's something I love to do. It's not easy, it's hard. It's something I'm still learning on, but I'd like to finish welding 3 and next year finish welding 4 and then see what happens from there.
Good. And our last gentleman is a junior, Bradley Weston, who's currently in welding 4 as a junior. So just your experience so far.
I took welding 1. Here, I didn't really see interest, and my dad's like, "You should at least go a semester." Did it, and I was like, "Okay, it's getting better." And then at welding semester 3, I was like, "Okay, maybe I'll make this a career." And now I kind of plan to do, I guess it doesn't go that high, but welding 6, hopefully in senior year. And then I'm thinking of trade school, and I've already looked at a few that I'm interested in. So.
Awesome.
Nice
Cool.
job.
Welding 6, we just give you jobs around the district.
Speaking of welding 6, not that we don't have that, but we've also partnered with Connected Lane County in our Hope Factory project, where we're going to be able to send 2 of our kids, 95% sure, in the fall to go into town for half a day, spend 2 periods in there, get 2 credits, and work with professionals in the trades. We'll build single wide and double wide homes for families. We started that a few years ago with the carpentry class, building sheds for Hope for the McKinsey Fire people. Now it's actual single wide and double wide. And so they'll go through 18 different stations for 2 weeks at a time with trained professionals. And they'll get their Bowley certification, their pre-apprenticeship certification, and lane pack stuff. And so that experience alone, and they'll get CTE credit and then a work-based learning credit as well, going through that piece of it. So that's one of the things. And then our other program, James Monaghan, our science teacher at the high school, started a TV and film production, and then a motion graphic and design editing. And we have we have 11 kids in the intro to film and advanced together, 4 females, 4 males in the intro piece currently. And then this semester we have 21 kids in our intro to motion graphics and advanced with 6 and 15, 6 females and 15 males. But if you look at Mr. Johnson's classes, we have 94 kids that went through either welding or carpentry, and another 47 in the automotive area. So that's a big boost, and thankfully we've got this Measure 98 money to spend on some of that stuff, but that's where we are with ours. Do you want to add anything?
This past Friday, in my 6th period intro to welding class, 3 of the guys were absent. It left one guy left in there. Yeah, he really looked outnumbered. And it was really a good feeling to see that. I had been pushing for an all-girl welding class so that they wouldn't feel intimidated by guys and so on. And I've kind of got my wish. This term, my girls outnumber the guys, I think, by 1 or 2 overall for this term. So doing well, and they are, I'll tell you that it's so much easier to teach them. These 2 are exceptions. They have been easy all along. Riley, no. Riley turned a corner last spring, or last fall, to where it was like the switch came on. He knows what he's doing now. He's exemplary and really good. My auto class, which was about to drive me into retirement, this term with the girls outnumbering the guys, it's so much easier to teach. Right?
And then real quick on, just to finish this up, unless you have questions, on this last fact now, it says achieve higher graduation rates. And the studies are out there, 93% of high school students in the CTE program graduated, 93% graduates on time if they're in a CTE program. And the national rate is 84%. So the trend is, we see a lot of kids that are taking CTE classes are going to graduate on track at a better rate than normal average. So I think it's been a good thing for us at the high school level.
I think it's great. I love hearing how this program is going, David.
It's going to be hard to replace that gentleman here shortly.
That man has pushed me beyond where I would be. By far. I would still be at 10 welding booths. There, we're at 17. I was one that was slow growth is good growth. No, we don't have time for slow growth. Get going. Yeah. So it's been really good.
And this is all funded through Perkins money?
Some of it's Perkins, no, it's Major 98 high school success money.
Yeah. Actually, the percentage of Perkins is really low compared to everything else.
In general fund money.
And do you do, like, at community college level, what we used to do is we used to do like a market analysis to see where the job trend was headed.
We do that. We do that. We do that. And we also we tour out there at Lane with the diesel days and career fairs and stuff like that. And then we have another hiring fair coming up. We do connect to Lane County. They do industry tours as well. And so we get out in the workforce with some of our kids, and we take field trips, as we call them.
When you started the program, you had to have a panel. Do you still have that?
That's a regional advisory committee now, not local anymore.
It's not
we used to
local.
have a local one with
Yeah.
local businesses. Now Lane ESD kind of covers all 16 schools with that now. And so, you know, he still has to be part of that via Zoom, but twice a year. But you know, Lane ESD, Shireen Vocal does that now at the Air Force. And
one last question: do you have a sense of where you're going to expand to?
Kind of a nudge with Dr. Harper at the high school with her degree and expertise. She's actually taken on a College Now class for the first time in her career, starting next fall, I think, in the health industries area. So health and science with anatomy and hopefully we get our young buck in the health classes to buy into it and get certified. So we can kind of transition to maybe in the health science. A lot of schools have a health science CT program going on. We talked about culinary a couple of years ago. It takes somebody unique to take over that, you know, kind of staff or somebody from LCT culinary to come out part-time and do a culinary. But I think we have the right people maybe to push into the health science area, nursing and that type of thing.
Well, I would ask that you do direct all your questions to John. He's the one that knows all of this. I think he would really like to see us get a barber program going.
We should shake.
Yeah.
I'm curious on the College Now classes. You mentioned like the contractors going to town and building and they're getting certification and that sort of thing. Are they getting the skills that they could like then go out and get an entry level position and not go to college at all?
They get the skills right out of his classes. This is just a bonus. I mean, we
right.
The last probably, correct me if I'm wrong, the last 3 times we went to the Lynn Benton welding contest, we probably placed at least 4 in the top 10, and we've taken first place twice. Yeah.
And that is going against the biggest high schools in the state, including Baker Technical Institute. It is a combined high school, community college program with multi-million-dollar welding facility and 3 certified welding instructors. And we've kicked their butts. They don't even come anymore. They don't come anymore.
Yeah, they have skill. That's kind of where I step in. I go kind of.
That's awesome. Really good job.
I haven't even told John that on this coming Friday, I have Keegan Mosher, who is one of my past students, coming in. He's going to spend most of the day talking about his transition from high school into the workforce and where he is right now. He was working at Western Pneumatics and doing very well. He was one of our first place winners in the competition.
Great.
Wes is somewhere too. He's at Western next too. West.
Yeah, Wes is at Western.
Yeah.
Nice job, you guys. Everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good job.
Thank you, guys. Let's get out of here. And Dave, what can you do with it?
Mr. Golding was taking everybody to dinner. Mark.
All right, so we'll move on to item 5A with approval of the minutes. Any questions or see anything?
I move that we approve the minutes as written. A second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And is Barbara on? Barbara's not online, is she? Okay. Motion carries 4-0. All right, moving on. Quanah. Quanah is online. Enrollment report.
I am here.
All right, go for it.
I'm just waiting for it. There it is. Okay. This is our enrollment as of March 1st. We're down a little bit more from last month, a total of 32 from the adopted budget. We are up 9 at the elementary level, down 1 at the middle school level, and down 40 at the high school level from the budgeted numbers. And then I have a financial report too.
Unless there's any questions on the enrollment report, go for it. Go for it, yeah.
Yeah, feel free to ask any questions.
I don't think there are any.
Okay, this is our general fund revenue and expense as of February 28th. We've received 84% of our revenue. We've spent 51% of our operating expenditures. This time last year, we were at 83% on revenue and 48% on expenses. So we're fairly close to where we were last year on both. The ending fund balance of 21-22 was finally recorded. That's the $5 million number up there at the top, which was a 6.5 increase over the 2021 ending fund balance. Everything's on track. Revenue's coming in as expected, and the expenses are about where they should be. Does the board have any questions on that report?
No, that does require 4 actions to approve that.
I make a motion that we approve the financial report. I second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the report. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Quanah.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Elmira Elementary presentation.
Stand right here.
Anywhere but outside the room.
Right, so it's in March, feels a little odd to talk about new staff when we're talking about the end of the year, but here's my opportunity for a new staff this year. Sienna Griggs joined us as a first grade teacher. Miss Sarah Baroza, who's not new to our district, but new to our building, as a third grade teacher. Mary Jones, also not new at all to our district, but was split last time between Benita and Elmira, and this year is full-time in Elmira, so sort of new. Bonnie McClaws had a change in position as well, moved into our library media assistant. Stacy Bell was hired as a pass IA. Robbie Wolf Powell, who has been a sub in our district, joined us permanently in Bridges. She's in the K2 classroom. And then Jose Gonzalez is our newest hire, a month ago-ish. I can't remember now, as a custodian. Split with the middle school as well. Some highlights for this year, just kind of big picture stuff. We're continuing to spend a lot of work and time in our data teams, looking at student data from easy CPM progress monitoring and benchmarks, and then assigning various reading interventions, small groups, either within the classroom or within the title program, and moving kids around as they make growth or not throughout the year. We are 2/3 of the way through the year with a new ELA curriculum, which we're exploring, and I think every week somebody's like, oh, I found this new thing I didn't even know it did. So the whole first year with a new curriculum is a lot of exploration and figuring out all the pieces. Overall, they're getting really good feedback. We're very excited about it. How deep it is. Continuing deep work with grade level PLCs, meeting with Benita Elementary across grade level teams to coordinate plan instructions so that kids at both schools are getting the same things and have more minds together to really look at data, instruction, interventions, assessments, how it all fits together. Some ongoing professional development, continuing with a micro PD for instructional assistance, which is partnered for U of O. Reading PD, we did a day or morning chunk of time, really intensive reading professional development for our IAs around reading development and different curriculums and interventions that we use, so that those who are helping our small groups know what tool they're using. Our PLC team leaders have had some professional development this year and is changing course a little bit for the rest of the year, and we're adapting with that. Continuing district-wide work in equity and social emotional learning. Our portable is finally up and running after entirely too long, but it's functioning. We've got our title working out of one of the classrooms, and the other classroom space is kind of multi-use. We use it for ELD that comes once a week or twice a week, depending on the week. And various small groups meet in there, as well as kind of a conference room. We have monthly assemblies, which we're very excited to bring back, that involve students in the month. Eagle Slip drawing winners get to do a challenge where they get to pick a staff member to compete against with a friend and do all sorts of really ridiculous things that are really fun to watch, and the kids are pretty excited about it, and bringing back some kind of school energy where we get to all be in the same space again and have some fun. And then we had the NED assembly, which was yo-yo craziness. And we sold a bazillion yo-yos, and they were very popular. But there's also some friendship and interaction that goes along with that, teaching through the yo-yo piece. We have Sluggo coming tomorrow to kick off our assembly reading challenge. And I did a read, finished. Some programs that we have that we're pretty proud of. We've got daily PE for all grades. On Thursdays is our running day. Kids are excited to earn all the little feet that they put on their necklaces for their mileage count. I don't know how many times a day on Thursday I hear how many laps they ran. I ran 22 today. Sounds great. They work hard in there. Monthly, we've got a catch day, which is a coordinated approach to child health. Teachers do additional movement or fitness activities and lessons in their classroom that partners up. Ms. Herbert, the PE teacher, provides a lot of support to make that happen. So we're spending an extra day. All of us focused a little bit more on that. We have both Bridges elementary classrooms that are on site. We have a K2 classroom and a 3-5 classroom really dedicated for kids who need extensive behavior supports, and working at teaching skills so we can eventually hopefully get them back into the gen ed setting long term. We have a resource room to support kids with academic learning needs, Title I interventions, a behavior specialist. We share a counselor with Benita Elementary. This is the second year, so she's built a lot of relationships with families and students now. We can start to do some deeper work. Speech and language, English language development is a district person, and we have library time with Miss Bonnie every other week where kids hear a story and get to check out some books. And they develop a little bit of love learning in a different just way. We have one of the most supportive PTAs I've ever worked with, and I've worked with 7 different districts and a lot of different schools, and I've not quite seen this level of support from a pretty small, passionate group. So as I mentioned, I did read is our big reading challenge. It finishes today. It's been a heavy lift to get it all done, but it's a lot of fun. They sponsor with Spirit Wear. They were part of the Hearted community that happened earlier this year. We did a jump-a-thon, a Miss Weber bingo in December, was it? Hire a teacher, which there are a couple great photos on there for Miss Herbert and Miss Tom were willing participants. Harvest Carnival was a huge success. They step up and do things for us with staff appreciation days, provide meals and treats to show our staff how much they are appreciated. There's a ton of classroom support with field trips and party funds and supplies for the classroom and pretty much anything you could possibly imagine. Stay tuned. In May is Chocolate Walk, which is the big spring festival that became a new thing last year as we kind of
how's the book vending machine going?
Book vending machine is on. Oh, you didn't even put it on there. It's super fun. Kids love. They take their little gold token and you go get to pick a book. And they're still I still sometimes am like, keep it forever.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So that's really fun. He takes the machine and keeps it stocked. The teachers. PTA's big push has been literacy. Laying that into everything. We like to have fun as in a crazy elementary school. So we have a spirit day every month. That's our staff. Some of our staff from Superhero Day earlier this year looking ridiculous. And I do want to point out Misty's amazing Superman outfit is like 35 years old. Her dad wore that. Oh, school or something. Multiple siblings have worn it. It's a story. So we've had today Cowboy Day or Western wear. There's always an option to wear school colors or a shirt if you don't have something that fits the theme. And it's fun to see everybody dressed up and just having a little fun and still trying to do school. We had one Title I night that had to get rescheduled because of a snow day or ice day or something like that. And the other one is next week. One is literacy and the other is the STEAM engineering, art, math piece. Those have been fun and creative. And we just finished today with our last day of the ukulele artist in residence, which has been the most incredible thing. It's a super acceptable instrument. So by the end of their first lesson, kids are playing song. Yeah. And they just get that instant gratification and they can't wait to go back again. Miss Jen said, kids are asking, are you going to be your own here? She's like, I wish. So it's been really fun. It's been fun to walk by the library, see her music coming out, and then small groups did a little performance. All of our classes got 4 sessions with her. And by the 3rd, 4th session, especially with the older kids, they had small groups coming together and doing performance. It was really pretty something special to see. She came to us right after a chunk of time that we needed to. So now all of our elementary kids have learning ukulele. And some of our families have been talked to buying them. We're performing at home already. But it's a relatively cheap instrument as far as instruments. Sampling this time of year just kind of goes on overdrive. Rest of the year, everything speeds up. So our Sluggo reading challenge, which is connected to the Eugene Emeralds, and so they read and get a reward for free tickets to a game. That starts tomorrow. We have our Shamrock Shuffle, which is a special foot that you can earn in PE for the running day of each month. Steam Family Night is coming up. We have Spirit Days, or Sports Day, Crazy Socks Day, Crazy Hair Day, and Tropical Beach Day are the remaining for the year. Spring break, obviously. Kinder Info Night, we're already planning for next year, which feels crazy. but both schools are having our event on the 4th at the same time, so that families can plan for that and kind of get to see what next year is going to look like for their little friends. Parent-teacher conferences are coming up. Teacher Appreciation Week is coming in May. We just had a Classified Appreciation Week last week. Chop block in May as well. And then 5th grade has a whole host of crazy things happening. So there's fly up to the middle school, there's outdoor school, there's the track meet, and probably some other things I'm forgetting. That's a small snapshot of next week. Thanks. And then I just want to come back to kind of where we sit. I think Elmira Elementary, I walked into an amazing team, and I'm proud to be part of this, and we continue to just focus on working together as a team. Coming out of a pandemic, some shortages, doesn't matter what gets thrown, people just make it happen. And it might be frustrating and annoying and hard, but everybody in that building really loves kids, and that's what it comes down to. And I'm like grateful day after day after day for the folks that I get to work with. Questions?
That's awesome.
Great, thank you.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Stop by on that dressing day. It's pretty entertaining.
All right, thank you very much for that. Next up is Ms. Marshall with the integrating guidance document review.
Yeah, you have to follow that one.
I know.
So I'm kind of building on our last school board meeting. So our last one kind of gave you a snapshot of where we're at and kind of the work that we're doing. This one's more formal because this is the state presentation of the logistics piece, and then we need to end with you accepting and approving the plan. It's been out to the public for over a week, and I have 0 response. One person reached out to me and she said, I read the whole thing and I'm exhausted. So here we go. Really the purpose is to let you know like how it came together and how it got developed and our next steps. I'm going to try to go over it. The background, and I've shared this with you guys before, is this has 6 major initiatives that they're combining. So instead of having to do a community engagement for each of the 6 different things, they're saying this is the work that should be tied together. You should really have these overarching goals and be working towards a better K-12 program versus all of them separated. So these are the 6 programs: High School Success, which you heard a little bit about, that covers the CTE program. Student Investment Account, that's SIA, so we hear that. Continuous Improvement Planning, that's our SIP. Career and Technical Education, that's CTE as well. Everyday Matters is kind of our attendance. And then the Early Indicator and Intervention System is, that's how we do our progress monitoring and data collection at the elementary level and middle school. So that's a summary of each of them. I just kind of keep that. Our planning team was lots of different pockets that I brought all together at different times. So our district administrators have had to do a lot of work with their buildings, with their needs assessments. Our building teams have looked through those. Just the staff has done a couple different PDs. Lane ESD hosted a couple community events, and LCC has been a partner in it as well. So the state has hundreds and hundreds of pages of how you have to go about doing this work. And then they say, well, you don't have to do it this way, but here's the template, and pretty much have to do it this way. And that's one of their graphics that they keep kind of going back to, just this idea of community engagement, equity, needs assessment, outcomes, and just always, you know, going back and forth. We did a lot of work with our comprehensive needs assessments last year, so we used a lot of that data. We have been working with our CTE consortia through Lane ESD, and then really looking at our focal groups and then putting it all together into an action plan that covers 4 years. One of the really big things that the district has been working on is using the equity lens, doing work around it. And you'll notice you have your little orange laminated equity lens tool. That's something that we have for each of the buildings as well. And just really thinking through, is everybody having fair access to our programming and having the opportunity to be successful? So, another huge piece is the community engagement. Are our stakeholders getting genuine opportunity to provide input? Are we listening to the input? How are we using it?
And then other types of assessments, like our student health surveys, that's where our students do those anonymous surveys, and we can use that data. We send out flyers, we've posted stuff publicly, we've participated as a district at LCC, board updates to you guys, our community Q&As that we were doing. So those are just some of, that's not all of them, that's just some of them. So from the needs assessment highlights, so what that was each building completed, it was probably about 30 or 40 pages, kind of a where we're at, you know, a state of the school. And teams would meet and they kind of rate themselves based on a rubric on all these different areas. So that's the ORS needs assessment. The input surveys, hopefully you guys have seen those and or participated in them. Just kind of asking folks how they feel about the district, how they noticed our efforts in certain areas, what would they like to see. And then using really targeted data collection around 3rd grade SBAC, 9th grade on track, graduation rates and attendance. And that will pop back up later because that's one of the 5 common metrics, but all 4 of those fall in there. So our plan, every district has to submit a plan, and your plan has to have outcomes, strategies, and activities. And our outcomes are built around our mission and vision statement. It just happened to work out very well that way, and now we have a great tool to use. So strategies, and hopefully all of this is reviewed from last couple weeks ago. Our key strategies are just really trying to make a cohesive K-12 program. So all of our buildings have a lot of fantastic things happening, but what our support system at K-5 looks a little bit different than 9-12. Obviously you have to have that, but there's also power in having a framework and a protocol. So that's some of what we'll do is just try to create some cohesive systems and continuing work that we're doing. So our key investments that you're approving in the plan are around staffing, professional development, student services and supports, 9th grade transition, increased opportunity for learning experiences outside of school hours. That was a really big thing that folks would like the district to really work towards, is more after school programming, more enrichment, more summer programming. So that's definitely on my radar. And then curriculum supports. We're making sure that we're engaging and lots of great instruction. One of the things that you also have to have as part of your plan is a tiered approach. So we've got all these things that we're budgeting and doing, but we also get to submit this laundry list of, if we find more money, we could do this, this, and this. So these are all of our tier 2 activities that we're not necessarily doing, but hopefully we get to do, and we'll have the opportunity to do. So the state will approve those. And then if for some reason we can't find a person to fill a position, or we have extra dollars for some reason, we can just pull from this list and choose without going through the state. So I'm not going to spend too much time here, but once we get going in this plan, we have to do what's called longitudinal growth targets. And so this is kind of their easy to read snapshot of how to do it. And what you do is you use your 5-year historical data for the district, which I have, and then they compare it to the state average. And then from there, you make a stretch target. You're saying, hey, we're going to work so hard and we're going to be so intentional and so focused. We're going to grow at this really high rate. That's your stretch target. So you're making stretch targets. Then you're making a baseline target, which is saying, hey, we're still going to continue this great work that we're doing, and it's going to be a little bit slower. And then there's a gap closing target. So that's for your focal groups. And this is not our chart, but they're very similar in that you've got your groups and your district level percentages. And then when you really narrow down and you look at your focal groups, and for us in our district, it's primarily our students on an IEP and our students experiencing poverty. So how do those kids perform relative to our district as a whole?
Whoa.
I don't know how you keep pressing that. I did not do that intentionally. To be honest, this is an aside. I shared this with my best friend in Junction City because she wasn't done with hers yet. And I noticed that she made some edits. And hers, she did that whole thing. You can keep going all the way through until we get to the end of the slide. So the longitudinal performance growth targets, we have those. Here's our 5 common metrics: the 3rd grade reading, the 9th grade on track, maybe one more. You can press it one more time. regular attendance, and then 4- and 5-year graduation rates. It's not required that you submit them, but I'm an overachiever, so we're going to submit them because it's recommended. And if you don't submit them right now, the state comes back and coaches you through. So I feel good about ours and what I'm proposing. And the state will still have to confirm them. And then you can use your other data as well, obviously. And then here's where we're at. We're in the application. We have until March 31st to upload. And what we're uploading is our plan, which is 28 pages, 5 different artifacts that show that we communicated with the community, that we actively were involved with the team, our plan with our outcome strategies, activities, and then our targets, and then the board minutes. All of that will get submitted as soon as the minutes are done, hopefully, unless I get a ton of survey data tonight. We're at 0. And so that'll get submitted by the end of March. And then with the ODE is bringing together these panels to review them. And then there's a 30-page rubric that they compare them with. And I've kind of already gone through that. And then they do a review and then hopefully approve. And that's it. Any questions?
Can you go back and watch?
Yeah, anything you want. And I will just say what we did was we did push this out for parents to have the opportunity to see it. We also put it on social media. And then what I attached with it was the presentation that I did 2 weeks ago, which was, I feel like, more accessible for folks to understand here's the work that we're doing with the money that we have. And then also I put up this one, and then I put up our action plan. I'll go over the data piece with the admin team tomorrow, actually.
All right. Any questions?
Thank you.
I kind of put the application down and sent Google Forms out to them. I was like, if you can put something in this box, I'll put it into my boxes. So it's definitely a team effort. It's a lot of work, but I do think that it will help align our path for the next few years.
All right, so we do need board action to approve the integrated guidance document.
Well, I moved. I'm sorry. No, it's not. We all.
I just give her a meaningful glance.
Who's going to do it here? This is.
All right, I guess I will move that we approve the integrated guidance document.
I second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the document. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries 4-0. Right. Mr. Carpenter.
Superintendent's report. Tonight I just gave my time to Mr. Goldegger, Mr. Johnson, and those kids on their report, so I have nothing.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Carpenter?
I just want to say and thanks that I like the positive stuff there.
Oh, my Friday. Yeah.
That's kind of.
Yeah, I got both. We'll do that once a month.
All right. Moving on, second reading of the 2023-24 public calendar.
Yes, so been no changes since the first time. As this gets approved, we will start getting it out.
All right. We do need board action on this.
I make a motion that we that we approve the 2023-24.
I second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the calendar. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Second reading of a number of policy updates.
So I had some questions. I talked to Mr. Carpenter earlier, they're hard to read because there's so many strikes. But the one that I wasn't sure of that we're going to refer to you. Because you're the linguist of us.
Oh, great.
No pressure though.
No pressure.
So let's go to Andrea. Do we leave in the first sentence, do we leave is in there?
In academic achievement.
Oh, yeah, you know what, I looked at this, and so the board believes it important that teachers have as much, so that is technically correct, but I had to go back and look a couple of times. So maybe should stay in there so that you only have to read it once.
We can make that adjustment right now. You know, approve that with that grammatical change.
Right. Let's just read easier.
Andrea had a policy she wanted to look at. It was one that's already adopted. They were just changing some minor things, and we just approved that tonight. I don't remember which one it was, but we can look at.
Yeah.
GVEA. Yeah.
And actually, the reason I thought it was new is because in the board document, it doesn't have approved.
Oh, because it's the stamp.
Yeah, but so I must have read it last year and approved it. So I'm thinking maybe I'll go back in the next day or two and make sure that it just wasn't me today.
Yeah, and then if you find anything, you can talk to Michelle and make edits, and then we can bring it back for another first reading in the future too, if we need to. All right, if there's no other questions, then we do require board action for these policies.
All right, I'll move that we approve all of the policies listed under second reading as written with the edit that we agreed on.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the policies as presented with the one correction. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
I
said that.
Then motion carries 4-0. Personnel, we do have a couple a resignation and a renewal, and a bunch of renewals actually. So we do require board action for licensed and district office group employees.
So I move that we accept the resignation of Sienna Griggs.
And the renewal of the contract.
And the renewal of contracts for the district office group.
I second the motion.
Great. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. And then we've got numerous resolutions that we should be able to just go ahead and approve, basically 22-23/04 through 08, 09.
Yes.
Unless there's any questions about any of those that we need to look at.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolutions 23-2304 through 9.
I second the motion.
So a motion to accept resolutions 22-23/04 through 09. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. All right. I think we hired a bunch of coaches, and so for spring sports, I don't know if they're all, yeah, there's a few couple up there. But I know we've hired some track coaches too, look like, right? Or I think I signed some.
Those are all the spring contracts. They were all new. So
Oh, just this is spring.
Yeah.
These two coaches are the JV baseball softball.
Right, and we don't require anything for that. Any late items or closing comments?
I just, I volunteered at the OBOB, 3-5 OBOB as a moderator. Boy, it's been a long time, but boy, they are so cute. But I saw Colt Gill there, and he's great.
Was your job yet?
Not yet. But related to one of the policies that was updated, the OBOB committee was already doing student surveys, as is required in one of the policies that was updated to include student input. So, sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, I think to follow up on OBOB, so they had elementary, and then this week is middle school, high school.
So, interestingly,
Like Wednesday, Saturday or something?
no, so the middle school was also on Saturday,
Oh.
and they didn't make it out of pool play. And the high school is on Wednesday from like 5 to 9. I reached out but didn't hear anything back, and I actually was not sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comments? I volunteered at the 4A state basketball tournament this last weekend, which was 16 games in 3 days. 17 actually. They had the Unified State Championship between Park Rose and South Umpqua, and South Umpqua actually came back in the last like 15 seconds and hit a shot to win it. So yeah, it was pretty exciting. It was really cool that they did that there, and they actually used the other gym after the 4A part was completed right there across the hall at Forest Grove for their tournament, and then the championship game was on Saturday at 11. So it was really exciting. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Saw Coach Daniels up there. He went up to watch Saturday, watch Junction City lose. But anyway, all right, and that's it. We will adjourn. Thank you.